Hello, hello.
Hi.
Welcome back. It's episode 23, and I'm Selene Castrovilla,
I'm Pascale.
and this is...
Diff'rent chat.
I knew you could do it.
No, no.
All right. Let's laugh now, because we're not going to be laughing in a little while.
It's gonna get rough,
A little rough this episode. Well,
but important.
I think it's definitely... There's some movie... My ex-husband was an actor, and he had... What was that? Remember he used to do the monologue?
Yeah, what monologue did he do?
It was from some some movie, but about TV people, broadcasters.
Broadcast news.
Okay. And she goes, he would say the things and I had to say back to him. And the girl said, "This is important to me." So this is important. This is important to me. And then I remember he said, "Does anybody win one of these things?" No, I don't think we win anything.
I think I had to watch that movie in a film class I took.
Really?
Yeah, she showed all movies that I would never in a million years go and see.
Well, that's what film classes are.
Yeah, and then in one class, I had this lady who sat behind me, and through the whole movie, she became scandalous.
Really? That's funny.
Oh, it was so funny.
That would make it very interesting.
Oh, yeah, she was great. Scandal.
I like that. Well, today, episode 23, it's striking me, and this is just a pure coincidence, but I'm going to be talking about Casey, and he was 23 when he died, and this is episode 23. It was also 2023 when he died, so that's also 23.
That's a lot of 20.
That's a lot of 23s. I wonder if 23 means something. I guess everything means something.
Yeah.
Right. And now we have our Chinese calendar behind us, and I've been informed by Pascale that today we're recording this on the 29th, January 29th, so it is actually the Chinese New Year. And I was like, "Oh, what is the thing for the New Year?" She goes, "The snake," and then we realized that's why that big snake makes sense. I'm glad some things come out to make sense. Okay, I was going to put many segments, but they just didn't fit. You know what I mean? I'm just going to do this, and if we have any time, we could always do something jovial. But I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to talk about what happened to Casey for the very first time. I mean, I've told many people, just not publicly. And it's certainly not because I'm ashamed or embarrassed or anything. It's just that I was trying to get justice for him. I thought he was going to get justice, but I realized the only justice is social justice, speaking out about injustices and crimes against our humanity. So unless you're a celebrity, and then poof, all the justice you want. Right. So let's talk about fentanyl. I could sing a song, but I'm not going to.
I was thinking that too. That's terrible.
If fentanyl was around in the 60s, Woodstock would have turned into Jonestown. Okay, let's get real here. All right. It's just by a miracle that everybody's alive because there was no such thing as fentanyl. Think about when you were a teenager or in your early 20s, did you try drugs? Did your friends? How many of your peers would have perished if there was fentanyl then?
Most of them.
Yeah. Like my friend's niece went to buy from a drug dealer, someone she knew. They always think it's safe if you know them, but someone else got that. You know, like they didn't.
Right. They're not the ones that.
And she actually had dinner they went to Taco Bell or something. They had dinner. Then she bought one Xanax from him. One. And she died in his driveway. She didn't even make it out of there. Okay. And guess what? They didn't arrest him. That's justice in our country, okay? Nice, right? Casey, I put on Facebook a picture of his arm in the funeral home. He had a tattoo from this girl, very sweet girl. I mean, she used to sit in my kitchen. She was just a little, everybody's so confused when they're young. Like I was so confused. I mean, if I died in my early 20s, I would have just been all they would have known about me is that I was just a confused mess. That's it, And so, and then she died from fentanyl. And then he had the tattoo, and he said he was glad he had it because, it was a memory of her. And then, so that's when I asked the funeral director to take a picture of it for me. So Casey didn't die of fentanyl, but he wouldn't have been in the hospital for what happened. He wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for fentanyl. So in that way, fentanyl played a crucial part of his demise. And I'm going to talk more about that after. But first, I want to talk more about fentanyl. Okay, so back in 2019, I just went on. This is what I do when I do research. I just go on and find articles and throw them all together. This is by no means all the research. There's so much research that you can do on your own if you want. This is just what I found to make my points. But if you're interested in learning more, there's a hell of a lot of information out there about fentanyl drugs, the way we've prosecuted them. So on Fresh Air, September 4th, 2019, they already talked about fentanyl as a dark web profit center from Chinese labs to U.S. streets. And they said, there's a quote from a book called Fentanyl by somebody named Westhoff. I don't see his first name. Fentanyl Inc., Fentanyl Incorporated is the name of the book. And the quote is, fentanyl was originally formulated as a medical drug. Can you imagine? Something that was used in open heart surgery and in end-of-life care. It's an opioid that is 50 times stronger than heroin, 100 times stronger than morphine. His book examines the manufacture, sale, and use of fentanyl and other synthetic drugs. See, that's what it is. It's synthetic. I mean, but I guess other things are synthetic too. Like, are most opioids synthetic?
Heroin isn't synthetic.
No, but that's not. Is that an opioid? Oh,
yeah.
I'm confused. Okay, heroin is not, but I feel like Xanax is like a...
Oh, all of
right, that stuff, yeah.
But is Xanax an opioid?
I think it is. No? Meth? What's meth? Is meth an opioid?
Meth? No, meth is made in the lab.
Right, but is it an opioid?
No.
Fentanyl is an opioid and it's made in the lab. What?
Yeah, no, meth is, what do you call that? Like cocaine. It's a
stimulant?
Stimulant, yes.
So what does fentanyl do? It's like heroin and kind of makes you...
I guess if it's an opioid, I've never had fentanyl, but...
What is the idea of opioids? They make you calmer?
Yeah, they make you very relaxed.
Okay. Anyway, he said that in his research, he visited 2 factories in China that make synthetic opioids and shipped them to the U.S. or the Mexican drug cartels for distribution. But then he noted that they are sold over the dark web and often cut into other drugs, including heroin, cocaine, and even prescription pills. He said, basically, it's so cheap to produce and it's so powerful that drug dealers began realizing it was a way to increase their profits. And that was the reason why they started cutting it into things without letting people know. I mean, it's one thing if you're taking it and you know the risk you're taking, but most people don't know that fentanyl is in the drug they're taking. And they put it in to make money, pure and simple. And they don't care if some people die, because that's just part of the, what is that, the cost of doing business. There's many more people buying collateral damage. They got many more people buying, and think about how many people are dying, and so many more are buying. That's a terrifying thought. And now I found a report from, it's a report before the Subcommittee on Crime and Federal Government Surveillance of the Committee of the Judiciary, U.S. House of Representatives, the 180th Congress, first session on Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. And that's a lot. But it was a congressional hearing about, it's called the fentanyl crisis in America. Inaction is no longer an option, right? And it was on March 1st, 2023, which is a month and a half after Casey died. Exactly, pretty much. And they said the first wave of opioid deaths began in the late 1990s with an increase in overdose deaths involving prescription opioids. That was just the prescriptions. They were legal and people were dying. The second wave began in 2010 with a noticeable rise in overdose deaths involving heroin. The third, most recent and deadliest wave began in 2013 with a sharp increase in overdose deaths involving synthetic opioids, particularly illicitly manufactured fentanyl and related substances. Just 2 milligrams of fentanyl, the amount that fits on the tip of a pencil, is considered a potentially lethal dose. As a committee, we began looking at this crisis years ago. We have heard from too many parents who have tragically lost their children to this poison. Between 1999 and 2020, approximately 564,000 people died from overdoses involving an opioid, subscription, or illicit. In 2021, however, overdose deaths surpassed 100,000, with 67% of those deaths involving fentanyl. Let that sink in. It took 20 years to record a total of 564,000 opioid overdose deaths, and in just one lone year, we saw over 100,000 opioid overdose deaths.
That's crazy.
It is. So that's an interesting report. You can actually read the whole thing online. You can rewind and see what I said it was. It's amazing what you can find when you just Google around. It really is. You really should just pick a topic and start Googling it, and you'll really broaden your horizons about things. It's quite amazing. And you'll get different opinions. It's really fascinating. So then I found an article, May 2nd, 2023. Everything started heating up after Casey died. Oh, and they started giving away, what's that stuff called? Narcan. They started giving Narcan out after he died. We wouldn't, well, it might have helped a little, but they did give it to him. I'll tell you a bit later. But
we've been having, in the last few years, training in the libraries. We have it on hand.
Yeah.
We didn't have it on hand yet. Use it.
Yeah, we didn't have it on hand. Remember Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, on May 2nd, 2023, he announced the results of an operation targeting dark web opioid fentanyl traffickers. And this was in conjunction with Europe. It was in The Hague. This was international. And they arrested nearly 300 people, confiscating over $53 million, and seized a dark web marketplace as part of an international crackdown on drug trafficking that officials say was the largest operation of its kind. And they were very busy telling about how important it is to shut down the dark web, right? There's a lot more they said, but like one defendant in California led an organization that bought fentanyl in bulk, pressed it into pills with methamphetamine, and sold millions of pills to thousands of people on the dark web. So that's what was going on in 2023 until last year. That was a whole international thing, and everybody at the time thought it was really important. Last year, when Donald Trump was doing his campaign, he met with a libertarian organizer. Now, I don't know much about the libertarians. I guess they don't want interference from government, but they don't want drugs to be regulated. Like, really? Really? So what is that? I don't understand what that means. How could you not regulate drugs? You're just it's a free for all and everybody should just drop dead? So what? So we have less government interference? I think this is a time when we do need government interference. Somebody needs to help. So he met with a libertarian. There's a couple of articles in the New York Times. These articles are very good, New York Times. He met with a libertarian organizer to find out how he could secure libertarian votes in the election, because he felt, and probably rightly, that those votes would help him win. I guess they did. They probably was part of it. So the person advised him to promise to pardon Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht? Ulbricht, right? I think it's Ulbricht.
I don't know.
So Trump agreed. He bought their votes by promising a pardon. He had no great convictions about freeing him. This was a business transaction for him. He said to the person, "I love freeing people." No, it's fun. Felons, out. This was a business transaction for him, just like Ulbricht was probably felt his illegal dark net drug network was conducting business transactions. And so what if people are addicted and dying? That's on them. That seems to be the common thing because I really got more and more outraged when I saw people commenting on social media about it. And one person was like, well, no one really cares about drugs. I'm like, I don't know. I think it's pretty important.
It's just like everything else. If it doesn't happen to them, it doesn't matter.
Well, you never know if it's going to happen to you.
Exactly.
You never know, because I can guarantee you my kid wasn't the only one buying any drugs.
Of course.
And we just don't know. Here's what Trump said. This is unbelievable. Okay. He said, the scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who were involved in the modern day weaponization of government against me, Trump said in a post on his social media platform, Truth Social. Scum. That's the government. They prosecuted a man who ran at the time, the largest drug organization on the dark web, where no one could trace. I guess they could trace someone. They found him finally. He named himself out of what's that movie? The Princess Bride. Can you imagine? Dread Pirate Roberts from that stupid movie. Which I don't know if it's stupid, but it just makes
actually a good move.
Oh, it's great. But what, you got to name yourself, you got to romanticize yourself like that?
No. And by the way, did you notice that quote? He makes it all about him. It's not about anybody but him.
You know how much money must have been spent on that prosecution alone? Like our tax dollars to put away someone who rightfully, the man got 2 life sentences. They don't do that for nothing. They said he was involved in 6 deaths that you could prove. Like somebody was found dead with the Silk Road thing up. By the way, they called it Silk Road after like a Chinese dynasties. The Silk Road was like the trade. Like that. Oh, it's so lovely. What a wonderful Yeah, it's great. Let's just have trade. Who cares how many people die? You know? Well, I think the gun people the same way.
They don't care about people.
They don't.
They care about their bottom
I
line.
wonder if they would care if it happened to their own people.
Once again, if it doesn't happen to them personally, they don't get it.
I don't understand.
They have no ability to see something from another person's point of view. Sorry.
Well, look, I'm just saying the facts, and so are you. Like, we're just saying the facts. The guy's the president, whatever, but this is where we stand now, okay? We stand where people that work really hard to prosecute a really bad drug ring are now scum. So, scum, who prosecuted them? Well, let's see. There was a post on the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement site boasting about Ross's conviction. You might have heard of them. They're called ICE. ICE, baby. I got a joke. Yeah, ICE. ICE was back with a brand new mission. So, yeah, it was a huge article, and they were bragging because they're not just about what we know them for, really, immigration, but it's also customs. It's about drugs, okay? So, of course, they would be involved in this as well, okay? And they said, Ross Ulbricht, a.k.a. Dread, this was in 2015, back when he was convicted, May 29th, 2015. And the tag was New York contraband cybercrimes. New York. So, they're going to blame what's his name, too? The DA?
Oh, yeah.
Or guy. I love him. Well, he wasn't actually there then, but they'll still blame him.
Sure.
Ross Ulbricht, a.k.a. Dread Pirate Roberts. But he just had so much fun being a pirate. Sentenced to life in federal prison for operating Silk Road website. More than $200 million in illegal drugs and other illicit goods were bought and sold on the site. And they said he was sentenced on Friday to life in prison in connection with his operation. It was a hidden website designed to enable its users to buy and sell illegal drugs and other unlawful goods and services anonymously and beyond the reach of law enforcement between January 2011 and October 2013. This is a quote from a U.S. attorney who prosecuted it. Make no mistake, Ulbricht was a drug dealer and criminal profiteer who exploited people's addictions and contributed to the deaths of at least 6 young people, said the prosecutor. I'm not going to try to pronounce Barara. He's probably fired now, too. Ulbricht went from hiding his cybercrime identity to becoming the face of cybercrime, and today's sentence proves no one is above the law. Well, unfortunately, there goes that. I guess people are above the law. If you're white and you got money, you're above the law. That's how it goes now. Okay, is everybody happy?
You know how I feel about all this.
So, anyway, he created it. It emerged as the most sophisticated and extensive criminal marketplace on the internet, serving as a sprawling black market bazaar where unlawful goods and services, including illegal drugs of virtually all varieties, were bought and sold regularly by the site's users. While in operation, Silk Road was used by thousands of drug dealers and unlawful vendors to distribute hundreds of kilograms of illegal drugs and other unlawful goods and services to more than 100,000 buyers and to launder hundreds of millions of dollars deriving from these unlawful transactions.
Yeah, he was like a cyber drug pimp.
Yeah. And nobody paid taxes either, so there. We're the only suckers paying taxes around here. He deliberately operated Silk Road as an online criminal marketplace. I mean, you can see that when you look at the guy, his smirk.
I don't know what he looks like.
He looks like, I don't want to besmirch other people. But he's very smirky. He's like one of those smirky guys. Yeah. And he operated Silk Road in what is known as the Onion Router. I never heard of that one, or Tor. But I know Tor, and I know it from, who taught me? Casey taught me about Tor. Tor is the dark web.
Oh, yeah.
I taught you that, yeah.
Yeah, we did this on an episode because I did not know.
Yeah. And they conceal the true IP addresses of the computers and therefore the network's users. And then he did Bitcoin with it. I could kill us about Bitcoin. Somebody put on one of my comments, like, they don't know why I cared about Bitcoin. I'm like, I don't care about Bitcoin. Did you read the article? Like, I'm not interested in Bitcoin. Care about that.
Does anybody even know what Bitcoin is?
Well, somebody must, because I didn't even know how. Okay, to me, it's kind of like a diamond. Who determines how much that's really worth?
Yeah.
And this is even worse because it's not really existent, right? It's just it's not real.
I know.
I don't understand that. I have no interest in it. I remember, didn't Howard get Bitcoin as gift and he threw it away? Didn't know what to do with it? I'm in that camp. I had a guy a friend that was trying to get me to buy. He is one of those guys. You know, he's a salesman. He's always trying to get me to do stuff because he was going to get a kick. Like if I bought it, he would have got a kick. And he like, oh, you can get a good. No, it's going to this. It's going to double. I go, no. Don't say it again. And then he would again. And he's like, no. I'm like, there's so many reasons why I don't care about this. Number one, I am not framed by money. Okay. I probably wouldn't do a regular investment because I don't even like, you know, but I'm certainly going to invest in like this fairy money. Like I don't even know what it is and whatever, but it also just doesn't even interest me.
Me neither.
You know? So, but that's how they get around things. They probably created it just for this kind of stuff. That's probably why it was created, you know? And they said, the Silk Road homepage displayed nearly 13,000 listings for controlled substances. Okay. Now, I don't know for sure if any of those things had fentanyl, but you can bet that drug dealers were buying from him. They were using it to mix with the fentanyl. Some way or another, fentanyl was involved here. And you can't tell me otherwise. Okay. They have categories such as cannabis dissociatives. What's that?
I have no idea.
You see, I don't like, I'm not interested. Drugs never interested me. Ecstasy, intoxicants, opioids, precursors. What's that? That sounds like a date drug. Precursor to raping somebody.
What?
That's what it says, precursors. I mean, that to me, it sounds like, oh, when you're getting ready to rape somebody, give them a precursor. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. Prescription, without a prescription. Right? Psychedelics, that one I've heard of. And stimulants. Is that like cocaine?
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Cocaine, meth.
Yeah, I hate that. I tried that. It was like, you think I talk a lot now? See me on cocaine. I just won't shut up. It's not fun. If I wanted to be numb, I would go to the dentist. I don't get that. Horrible feeling. It's just like getting a shot of Novocaine. Yuck. I'm just not a drug person, people. But again, my father was a heroin addict, and then my son did drugs, and I'm like sandwiched in the middle. I don't understand it.
Some people just are.
It's hard. It's hard to be a parent in this culture without having any kind of understanding of it. You think I would talk to him, but it was like speaking two different languages, you know, and I knew he was going to keep doing it. For him, it was a way to deal with life. Life was a lot, and life is a lot for all of us, and we all have our ways to deal with it. And when you're young, the way the world is, it's extremely unbearable and overwhelming. And a lot of young people are using drugs. It's for survival. It's for their mental health. They're medicating themselves with this stuff because they're not getting the help in the world that they really need. And it's not parents' fault. We just don't really know what to do with it. I'm speaking, that's how I felt. Okay. I did buy him those strips, and he said he used them, but all you have to do is not use it once, you know?
Yeah, and you don't have to be a drug addict to die from it. It can be your first.
Right, it could be your first time out. It's a Russian roulette. There's so many young people doing it, and you know, you don't get your full what is it called? What is it called? The frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is not formed completely till you're 25. So think about that. This also calls for why we even call people adults when they're 18. I don't think they're ready really to be adults. I don't know many people that could actually go out and live a really chill and productive life when they're 18. I just don't. I think we should change that. They probably do it just because then they can draft them. That's probably where they say 18. So yeah, they're great to be in the Army. They don't even know what the hell's going on. Just throw them out there in the front lines, you know? But not the rich kids. You know, poor kids. And middle class. Poor middle class. Just everybody propagandizes the middle class. That's another story. I guess it all goes together in a way, you know. But to put it all together, you would need a very long congressional committee. Okay, so if you would, I would say this is very interesting. You guys should read this stuff. I'm not going to read it all to you. But all this to say, he was 31 when he got convicted, so he's going to have a nice little life when he comes out. In addition to the life sentence prison term, he was ordered to forfeit $53,961,921. Don't forget that last dollar. But, oh my God. I mean, I can't even imagine ever having that much money. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Listen, drugs are a good business. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but drugs sell.
Yeah, they do. Without even putting the fentanyl, that's the thing. But they had to have more money. They had to be more greedy, you know? And the judge, Forrest, in imposing the sentence, said, it's just so ironic reading this now, you know, the things that were said then. Judge Forrest said, that was the judge, obviously. There must be no doubt that lawlessness will not be tolerated. There must be no doubt that no one is above the law, no matter of one's education or privileges. All stand equal before the law. There must be no doubt that you cannot run a massive criminal enterprise and, because it occurred over the internet, minimize the crime committed on that basis. Well, there goes all that again. Yeah, so a lot of groups were, it says these are the people that are the scum. I'll read you the names of everybody that was involved. That was scum. Okay. The attorney that prosecuted praised the outstanding investigative work of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and its New York Special Operations and Cyber Division, as well as the outstanding investigative work of the following agencies: DEA's New York Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Strike Force, which comprises agents and officers of DEA, IRA, New York City Police Department, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, New York State Police, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, U.S. Secret Service, U.S. Marshal Service, Office of Foreign Assets Control, and New York Department of Taxation. Scum, all of them. Scum, how dare they?
Yeah, right.
Oh, my God. You know, it's no wonder we're tearing this whole government apart. Let's see what we get now. It's going to be great. Great. Oh, and he also praised the foreign law enforcement partners whose contributions to the success of the investigation and prosecution have been invaluable. I can't pronounce this. Namely, the Reykjavik Metropolitan Police of the Republic of Iceland and the French Republic's Central Office for the Fight Against Crime, linked to information technology and communication. So they're scum too. They're scum. The prosecution of this case was handled by the office's complex frauds and cybercrimes unit, and Assistant Attorney, U.S. Attorneys Saren Turner and Timothy T. Howard were in charge of the prosecution, and Assistant U.S. Attorney Christine Magno is in charge of the forfeiture aspects of the case. Scummy, all of them. Goodbye. They're probably all fired. We don't need them. We're libertarians. We don't need government.
I have to be honest. I don't know what a libertarian is.
Well, I don't know, but they can go fuck themselves. I don't know, like, what their story is. Like, but, like, I don't know where they're coming from. Do they have any conscience or any empathy?
Clearly they don't.
I don't know. We'll have to talk about them in a future thing and really figure out who the hell. I did have a friend who was one, and whenever he said stuff, I was like, that doesn't sound good. But he was nice. He came to one of my readings.
I'm going to look it up right now because I'm just so interested.
I don't know. So ICE is scum, but it's not scummy at all to sell out all of someone's victims for votes. And I already said this, but I wrote, side note, fuck you, libertarian. Then I wrote, I don't wish death on anyone, but if someone has to die next, let it be your kids.
Yeah, really.
So then this is really ironic and funny. On the top of the ICE page, I know it was archived because it says that you could still find things, whether or not, like, you know what I mean? That is one cool thing. At least they leave it on there that you could see it. So, I mean, I like that in terms of, now that we have a new regime, at least we can still learn about things that happened in the past, as opposed to just wiping it out. Like the Constitution was taken off the White House website, in case you were wondering. But I thought we were for the Constitution. We're certainly for the Second Amendment. How does that work?
Only when it's in your favor.
Yeah. What about all the people that have the Constitution on the back of their trucks? You ever notice that? But now the Constitution is going to go away, apparently. So I don't know. See how that goes.
I found libertarian. You want to know what it is?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. The Libertarian Party is a libertarian or classical liberal political party of the United States that promotes civil liberties, non-interventionism, laissez-faire capitalism, and limiting the size and scope of government.
But why Like,
it doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, well, you know what? But I know that a big thing of theirs is to have no regulations on drugs. That's what that guy was like a poster child, okay?
Well, because they want less government.
They don't care that people are dying.
I agree with you. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to reevaluate my scale of who sucks the most. And I really wanted to sort of skate the line. Again, I'm not against Republicans. Some of you, I'm sure, are lovely. And some Democrats majorly suck too, many of them. Okay. Many, including our New York governor. She can go to hell too. Okay. Seriously. I'm bipartisan against all sucky people. Right?
Yeah.
Just don't understand. One thing be right in 2015, but wrong 2025. Like it defies common sense. And I never will say it's okay that drug dealers should be running free. Never. And we're gonna have to look more into those libertarians. I want to find out more details.
Yeah, I would too.
But the guy did come to my reading. It made me happy. There's a note on top of the ICE page where I read this article. Okay. It said, in an effort to keep ICE.gov current, the archive contains content from a previous administration or is otherwise outdated. This information is archived and not reflective of current practice. Yeah. So we were real proud when we did that arrest back then, but now, no. So now Ross is good, my bad, and too bad for the people that he all heard for profit. And how much profit did he need, by the way? How much profit did he fucking need? What the fuck is wrong with everybody? What is this? You're going to die. What, you're going to take it all with you? How about your redemption? How about your soul? How about caring about other people? He hurt 6 people we know of. You know a lot more than 6 died. It's bad even if 6 died. Don't get me wrong. Okay.
Oh, yeah, but there's no way.
People loved each one of those people. My son died. He's one person. He meant the world to me. And everybody that loses a child, everybody had a parent that loved them.
Of course.
But there's got to be more. They just didn't happen to have they couldn't be linked directly. You know, that's the whole idea of the dark webs. It's a miracle they can even link 6. He also, by the way, was hired people to kill people that he found threatening. Again, that's not the part of this that really interested me, so I didn't really research it. But I mean, seriously, this sounds like a great guy to be walking around.
It sounds
evil. So it's so great that Trump called to tell Ross's mom that he's coming home. That guy is like a real American hero, right? Like,
did he really?
He said, "We're bringing him home." That's what he said.
Wow, that's fucked up.
I mean, they didn't do that when the kids came home from Vietnam.
Right, and is he calling those 6 parents?
No, they'll never get a call. And that's what I wrote. I wrote, too bad I'll never get a call that Casey's coming home. And those kids, those other 6, their parents will never get a call either.
Right. I mean, he's a murderer.
There is now, there is a Faces of Fentanyl room in, it's maybe the DEA. It's one of those, and they have, sort of like the Vietnam Wall where they have the names, but they have pictures of people that all died from, it's so upsetting. So yeah. So Casey bought drugs on the dark web. I know he did. And I promise you that he's not the only one of our kids that did or does. You can have a conversation with them and maybe they'll admit it to you, but how are you really going to stop them? They'll think there's no problem to them. There's no problem to the Silk Road guy because they're expendable for profits and money is key. But unfortunately, young people all think that that's not going to happen to them.
Of course.
They all think that they're immortal or something. Like they just never see. Even his friend died. And he still didn't see what happened to him.
Yeah. And they also think that, like you said before, if you get it from someone that you trust, that you're going to be okay.
That's actually what happened. On a side note, after Casey died, you guys know I communicate with him, but I also have several friends that are psychic. And I'm not laughing like as I imagine people's eyes rolling, but they really are. And I didn't pay any of them, by the way. They're just my friends, okay? I contacted them right away, and one of them said that he was sorry that he hadn't tested it because he thought he could trust the person who gave it to him. I had spoken to him left and right, like, don't trust anybody, always do it. You get lazy one time.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's really despicable. So here is a statement from Ulbricht's clemency attorney. After enduring over a decade of incarceration, God, this poor baby.
He endured that.
And he probably was in federal prison, which is a freaking cakewalk, okay? Prison is nicer than where most of us live. Okay, he's lovely there. It's not that stuff where you get raped and all. That's not where it happens. It's very chill. They have coffee pot. They make coffee in the morning. Like they have a lovely. It's very. Martha Stewart was in federal prison, and it is all very Martha Stewart there. If you ever saw Arrested Development, the mother goes to federal prison. There's like a beauty parlor.
That's the best show, by the way.
It really is. It's a great show, but I'm really sad that they never did a conclusion on that because there's a lot of outstanding questions. A lot. So I do recommend it, but maybe the last season is just so horrible because it leaves so much in a come back. And I know the mother died, but there's another actress that looks like her.
Wendy Malick.
Wendy Malick. You hear me? Somebody tell Wendy Malick to go be on Arrested Development. What was the other one's name? The other one.
Jessica.
Oh, Walters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because she used to be on other things I liked. Jessica Walters, rest in peace. Wendy Malick, you can take over.
Yes, Jessica Walters was so great. I
great.
Loved her.
She's great in a lot of stuff. But she was always a good actress. I remember her from other things. But yes, she was great. But I know Wendy can do it. I know it. Wendy's great too.
I like her a lot. She's in Shrinking.
Yes.
And she's something else.
Well, she was on Frasier for a while.
Yeah, and she's in something else currently.
Oh, really?
But I don't remember what it is.
Huh. Shrinking, by the way, I got to see most of it. I found out that Apple was free, but not until Sunday. It was free for the whole weekend. So I watched a few episodes.
Shrinking is also another great.
That's a great show. And really, what I love about that show is that the plot lines are all really good. All the characters have a really strong plot line. That's unusual. A lot of times there will be plot lines that just like nothing compared to the one main one. This one, you care about all of them. And that is rare.
Yes, and it's different. A lot of shows are just repeats of other things.
Right.
Not this one.
No, it's not at all.
It's original.
Harrison Ford is on it. She plays his girlfriend, I think, right?
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, he is who I'm talking about. He's the right one. Yeah. I get him confused with the other guy.
Who?
The guy with Alzheimer's? Who has Alzheimer's?
Harrison Ford. In the show?
No. In real life, somebody has it.
I don't know. But
he's great in it. He's great in it. Really, like, it really, I feel like I'm learning life lessons when I watch that. It's really good. And that guy, the main guy's right, Jason
Segel.
Very good.
Kristen Miller's in it.
Yes, he's really good on it, too. Oh, my God, did she have enough surgery on her face? So her face barely moves.
Yes.
Holy cow. Stop. She was a pretty woman.
I know, but she's so great in that show.
She's great, but man, her face just doesn't move. No, but she's got they've all got great storylines. Okay. And it's a story, it's a show about grief, actually, but really a wonderful, amazing show. It's amazing. Okay, so he said, did I read his statement that he's going to contribute positively? Did I read that?
No.
Okay. I started to. Okay, after enduring a year that's why I got upset about the incarceration. After enduring over a decade of incarceration, this decision offers Ross the opportunity to begin anew, to rebuild his life, and to contribute positively to society. I can't wait to see how that pans out. I remember a guy he pardoned last time. Somebody I know worked for that guy. Sometimes people take loans and the interest is friggin' skyrocketed and the people are completely bankrupted by it. That was a guy that did that. And my friend, someone I know, worked for him, and then he got out. He just started doing it again. That's no problem. Just rip people off, take everybody's money. Desperate people, they need money in a hurry, and they do desperate things. They don't read all the fine print, probably, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there to get us. Well, at least, but I mean, honestly, you could say at least he didn't kill anybody. Just destroyed them. Okay. Not only is Trump's pardon a slap in the face to law enforcement and the people of the United States who are committed to law and order, like I thought that was what the Republicans wanted, law and order, but it's a slap in the face to young people who don't have their frontal lobes fully formed, who think they're immune to death and that they're invincible. There's a story. I remember Casey had a birthday party. They were, he was a kid, and I live on the water, and these kids, they all jumped in the water. I'm like, what the hell?
I remember this.
and I'm like trying to reason. I'm trying to like get them all out, right? I never thought that would happen. And a mother came and dropped her kid off, and she sees all the craziness. She goes, bye. You really need to go have some coffee or something, apparently. You're going to leave me alone with this crazy. Okay. So I got them out of there. But then so a lot of them slept over. So the next day, there was some sort of a little raft attached to my dock at the time. I don't remember why. So I woke up and I saw that raft was gone. And some of the kids were gone. And I'm like, oh my God. They went, I gave them a lecture the day before about not going to the water and everything. That little, they were in maybe 6th grade.
Yeah, like 11, 12.
Is that age?
I don't know, but I feel like that's how old
they were. About that. Yeah. Casey hadn't gone out, but several did. So all of a sudden, all the kids except one came walking back. Like, I don't know. They must have got off the raft at the end. I live like on an inlet. It's not like an inlet. It's called a lagoon, but it basically goes down and then there's a dead end and then you come back. If you don't drown, I guess. They didn't drown. That's why I'm laughing. But these other kids must have got off. Maybe they had enough. And they came walking back except for one. Well, I thought he was dead, right? So all of a sudden he comes back on the raft. And I'm like, oh my God. And I grabbed, came down, I hugged him. I'm like, I thought you were dead. He goes, I wouldn't die. I said, no one thinks they're going to die. This is the problem with young people. You can't get it through their heads. You can't. You know what it is? I mean, I guess it's just the way they feel, but I don't think movies help and video games and stuff. You keep regenerating in those video games, like, I don't know what it is, but they all have this feeling that they're like, Peter Pan is never going to die. Does he not die? He never grows up. Can he die? Maybe he can die. I don't know.
He doesn't die. I
don't die.
I don't know.
That's an interesting question.
I don't think that's ever addressed.
Okay. Well, I think that raft story says it all. So I will tell you now about Casey. He had fentanyl, but the responders came and gave him Narcan, and they brought him back, and they said that he was going to be okay. They said that to us repeatedly.
Yeah, you called me and said that.
I did. I was very calm because that's what they said to me. I was talking to you on the phone while I was in the emergency room. I was like, because they told me he was going to be okay. Well, next thing you know, they tell me, you have to go out because they said that a electrocution person was going to come in. I don't know why I couldn't be there for that, but they said I had to go. So I left and I waited in the waiting room for, I don't know, who knows. I thought it was like 20 minutes. I could have been, I really have no clue. This nurse, I think she was a nurse, came and said, okay, they need you now. And I was walking down and I was just like bantering around, like just thinking, oh, I'm going to see Casey. She waits until we get to the curtain. Like in emergency room, they have all these. So he's behind this curtain. She waits till we're right by the curtain. She goes, he's not doing well. Curtain's open. Doctor frantically comes out, trying to explain to me what happened. Casey's on like the machine, pumping his chest. Like, he called it life support, but people tell me it's not really life support. There's a confusion about that, but it was pumping his chest to keep him alive. I'll tell you.
Like a ventilator?
No, it was a thing that pumps your chest to keep you alive. I mean, it's some sort of life support. It does have a name, but I don't know. So he said, okay, imagine you think you're going to go see your kid and you had no idea this was coming, right? And he says to me, he's like in a panic. The doctor's in a panic. Okay. So he says to me, this is literally what he said. People question me. I'm like, I think you would remember on the day your son died what someone said to you. Okay. He said, I didn't know he would throw up. And then this is before he even explained anything further. This is what he said to me, the first thing. I didn't think he would throw up. And then he said, I didn't think there would be so much vomit. So he's basically blaming Casey for doing what it was the unexpected, I guess. So here's what the guy did. He intubated him without sedating him or starting an IV. So Casey aspirated in front of all these people. Why didn't they turn him over? I don't even know what. I can't get any answers on this, okay? But it shouldn't have happened in a hospital. People aspirate, like the drummer from Led Zeppelin aspirated because he was alone. No one was there.
I thought everybody knew that was a possibility, that you should turn somebody on their side.
They just watched it happen. They just watched it. I mean, I never heard of such a thing, okay? The report is incomplete. The report is incomplete, and I'm still investigating this, but it's been 2 years. I tried filing a complaint with the Office of Medical Misconduct, and after waiting over a year, they said there wasn't anything to do, or, no. Well, this is exactly what happened to the people with Dr. Death. The same thing exactly. And a lot of people with malpractice, you think, oh, I'm going to get justice here for my beloved person. I'm going to do this and this. But no, because they side with the doctor. And so I remember I was telling you about our governor. She keeps vetoing the family, Grieving Families Act. So in New York and maybe one other state, I think Alabama, I could be wrong, but one other state, that's it. Everybody else has a Grieving Families Act. So like if somebody dies, you can sue, the family can sue for their pain and suffering. In New York, you can only sue for pain and suffering. You can't sue, but the only amount, you can only sue up to what the person was worth when they died, what they made. So all children are worthless. Casey was an Uber Eats driver. He was in school still. Well, no lawyers want to take your case when there's not enough money for them to get, and she keeps vetoing it. And she says she doesn't want people to be able to sue, families to sue doctors for malpractice. Who's in the pocket of the doctors here?
Yeah. Once again, what if it was her children?
Oh, I actually wrote that. I wrote her 3 letters, and I found out her kids' names. Can't remember offhand, but I said specifically, what if it were so and so and so and so? What, I didn't even get the courtesy of even a form letter, let alone a personal letter back from my lovely governor, a Democrat. Okay, so I told you, I'm not going on party lines here. Okay, I'm just calling everybody out. She's getting paid off by them. This is legal, by the way. It is not illegal to accept campaign contributions for things that you do, that you decide on. Okay, how is that okay?
That doesn't sound okay to me.
It's disgusting. Nobody's doing anything about it. Well, she's just stopping us. And this same thing happened in Texas, actually. I think it was Texas. There was another, I'm not sure if it's Texas. I think it was, where they convinced people to make, they put a cap. They can sue for grieving, but there's a cap on it, much higher than it is here. It's more than what you made, but it's still not a lot of money. Like doctors, really, most lawyers wouldn't want to take the case for what they can make, because they can make so much more. They do it for money. At least we know lawyers do things for money. You know what I mean? Like, they're not committing any crimes for it. So, I mean, there are many great lawyers that actually do good for people too, but I'm just talking about these lawyers that sue for things. So in Texas, they said, they convinced them to do it. They said that people's insurance premiums would go down. But the only thing that happened was doctors' insurance premiums went down. And now they were not responsible. Nobody else's premiums went down. But it's fine. It's great. I think that was one of those Bushes that did that. I think, wasn't he the governor of Texas? The other, not Jeb, was Florida. I think there was one in Texas.
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know either. It doesn't even matter. I'm telling you, it's just, I don't know. But in any case, so that's why I can't really, I've been trying to do stuff. I'm still trying to do stuff. Okay. But I feel like I have to speak out. This part, I was planning on speaking it. I was planning on I may still make a podcast about Casey. But the fact is, I don't want him to be known just for how he died. That's why I did Casey's Preacher Kindness Day. Casey was so loving to anybody, but especially, he adored animals. He was just an animal whisperer, as I've told you. Casey was hysterically funny. He was a comedian. He just wasn't making his living at it yet. He was freaking brilliant. It's just brilliant, right? But I will probably make a podcast. I was going to call it I might still call it The Life and Death of Casey Castrovilla. And I was going to interview his friends, people who knew him, but I was also going to talk, do a real, I'm just telling you basically what happened, but I could go over the whole timeline of everything in it. But that's what happened. And then he said, the doctor, you can imagine, I'm trying to understand what's happening, but I still didn't get what was happening to this. He said, okay, we're going to stop resuscitation. Now I go, what? Yeah. My ex-husband wasn't there. I don't agree to stopping. I believe on keeping people on life support. That's how I am. But Tony wasn't there. My other son wasn't there. Nothing that it's very important to turn him off now. I'm like, no, put him on life support. And he said, he's been on life support for an hour. That's what I'm trying, that pumping machine. And I said, on life support for years. What are you saying?
By the way, my father just recently passed away. And when he was in the hospital, they called my brother and asked if he wanted to resuscitate. He said yes.
Right.
And then they asked if it happens again, do you want him resuscitated? So most hospitals will give you that choice.
There's actually a law that if you say don't turn them off, they're not supposed to.
Right.
But somehow nobody seems to care. I've brought that up. I brought that up with the medical misconduct people. I brought it up. Like but no one seems to care that he got turned off. What he called life, whether or not it was life support or not, I said put him on life support. I don't know what this matter of semantics is, but he is the one who told me it was life support, and it was a thing that was pumping his chest and keeping him. It was keeping him alive. But he turned him. Tony came in, my ex-husband, and we start screaming. We're both like, and what was the rush to turn my kid off life support? I don't understand. I didn't even get to really talk to him. I was too busy screaming to try to save his life. I mean, it's the most horrific thing. I hope nobody. Well, you know what? I hope Ross experiences that. I hope that all of the libertarians experience that. Okay, have fun. Okay, normally I would never say that, but I'm really fucking tired of people caring more about money than lives. So yeah, all you people that want to deregulate drugs or like not have the government do anything, all the people think it's okay to let a drug dealer out and no problem, he had a business going. Fuck you. I hope you all have to watch what I had to watch. I hope you are all helpless like me. That's what I say. And it takes a lot for me to say that. I'm not that kind of a person. But I've had it. I really hope that there is some sort of karma in this life. Okay. And what I can say about that doctor, he admitted it to me. And people are like, oh, you sure you heard it right? Yeah. And then he said something to the similar in the room with the family gathered, but then the report said nothing about it. The report said that he vomited, but it didn't say where it came from. It didn't say why. It said that that you're also supposed to get like approval when you're going to intubate. But he put that it was an emergency. Really? Because it's funny because the paramedics all told me that he was going to be fine. This guy, he has a resume online and he says that his specialty is opening airwaves. Can you fucking imagine? He said that. This fucking guy probably has a God complex and he was all about opening Casey's airway, even though probably didn't even need it. And by the way, they sucked all the vomit out to the point where the coroner didn't even see it. I had to tell the coroner what happened. And then the coroner's like, well, there's a lot of drugs. I said, yes, but they gave him Narcan. Okay. And I know what was said. And I'm not saying he took drugs. I'm not saying he didn't, but I'm saying that the doctor admitted that he aspirated. So if they sucked it all out, I guess they decided, I don't know why they sucked it all out. I mean, they sucked. That's probably what they were doing the whole time when I was in the other thing. To cover their asses, I guess. I don't know. Because he goes, well, I did see, now that you mentioned it, I saw a little inflammation in the lungs. I'm like, well, can you put that down? So he put it down. But because seriously, there was no mention of it in the report. And also what doctors anybody is supposed to give the coroner the backstory of what happened. That's I've watched so many crime shows, like ever since this, I've just been addicted to crime shows. I don't know if it's wanting to share in the misery, we're all commiserating, or I'm not really sure what it is. But as you know, as I speak a lot about these things, so I know that the coroner, yes, they look at things, but they also rely on the evidence of what happened. They cannot put a complete picture by themselves. They need to hear. So the doctor did not admit what they did. They realized, oh shit, we shouldn't have said that, right? And they covered it up. I mean, I can't prove that, but I know that he was not told that. Okay. And what happened in those hours? And the report does not say anything about the hours. It just says there was vomitus. That's what they call it. Which sounds like something out of Harry Potter. I didn't know it was vomitus. But they never said where it came from. Okay. And then I still think it's a crime to turn someone off life support or not put them on life support. Why? I don't know if he was on it or not. He's the one who said it. But put him on life support. That's what I said. I'm his mother. I'm the next of kin. He had no right to do that, but nobody seems to care. But if he was Matthew Perry, they would have cared. That's the last thing. We're really out of time, but I will say, think about. Oh, and by the way, they found pills and stuff. This was 2 years ago, right? It was 2 years ago on January 13th. They found pills and stuff, and they were going to analyze them, and they still haven't done it. They still haven't done it after 2 years. Okay. Oh. They have not, we've given them leads on possible drug deals. They've done nothing. Okay. They don't care. One drug dealer that he was associated with, but we don't think he actually got it from this guy this time. But this guy's getting some sort of a deal because he also does drugs. They have this program where you could just go to like rehab instead of jail. What if you do drugs besides being a drug dealer? Oh, so nice. Yeah, really? Are you kidding? The cops stung him and bought a tremendous amount of cocaine from him. So what is the point of even going through the effort of doing these?
I don't know.
But if it was Matthew Perry or that other guy, that singer, the one recent one, wasn't he in one of those groups? You know.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know.
Those people, well, they got his dealer real fast. I mean, look, and Matthew Perry, you read his autobiography, and he thought that they would have given up on him if he wasn't Matthew Perry. They wouldn't have kept trying to resuscitate him. So it's not that I want Matthew, well, he did die. And I feel bad for Matthew Perry, of course, but on the other hand, he got many chances that my son never got. My son never got. This is the first time this ever happened with Casey. This is the only time this ever happened. And it doesn't really matter except to say that Matthew Perry got many, many chances at life and still threw it away. And he had his demons, I'm sure. I'm not trying to be callous. But now they're so quick to find you. Why? Because he was a funny character on a show. We should all equally get the same attention. We should all equally get the same chances. They should work hard on anybody in the hospital, not just if you're famous. And they should prosecute anybody, not just the people that hurt celebrities. What are we saying here? We're teaching our youth that they're worthless unless they're famous? Or rich. I probably would do it rich too. I don't know. Rich or famous. I really don't know. I like Matthew Perry well enough. I like Friends. I don't want to see him dead. But he did. You will say that he was in his 50s and he got many more years in case he got. That's what I said to my other son. I'm like, well, he got 30 more years or whatever. You know, I mean, look, you get a little flippant when you've been through tragedy. Everybody grieves differently. I told you repeatedly that I communicate with him. I even showed you guys. So there is a, what do you call it? Like a cosmic consciousness. And I know this isn't everything, but what the hell's going on here? I feel like this is hell. I feel like we're all in hell right now. And I am really disgusted by this guy being pardoned. And let's see what happens with him. So anyway, I think I did pretty well during this. What do you think? I thought I was going to break down completely.
No, I think you were good.
You know, it's a lot. It's better to talk about it because when I was alone, I was writing about Facebook, responding to people. I was just getting so angry with the ones that were saying that they don't care about drugs really. And one woman was saying that she'd buy, if he was, oh my God. She said, well, if he was still in business, I'd buy Vicodin from him. That's what she said.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, that woman's a dick.
And an idiot, too. I might get a prescription. She goes, oh, they don't give prescriptions for long-term pain. I go, maybe there's a reason. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not a doctor. But if you can't get it, try an alternative thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not being flippant, but what, you're going to play Russian roulette with your life every time? It's so stupid. Why is people, see what I'm saying? She's an adult and she said that. So young people, what chance do they have? You know, you send someone to college and you think, well, that'll be good. And then they join a frat.
Has anything good ever come from a frat?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't know. You know, I will say Casey and I had a really great relationship for sure. We loved each other. We still do tremendously. But you try reasoning with somebody when ever, basically, parent-child relationship, it's very, very hard for that to, but especially when they're young. They're going to do what they want. They're going to do what they want. And so I just wanted to share all that. And I think it's an outrage. And this guy, the fact that he called everybody scum that prosecuted. Okay, well, you called your own ICE people scum among everybody else. That's good. Great. Not our policy anymore. Or bad. The one good thing is that they leave everything up, that we can still read it. Be informed. Take a look at what happened in our government and what's happening now. That's all I'm saying. I'm not putting down anybody except the bad guys. I'm putting the bad guys down. And they should all get what they deserve. They should all, and death is too good for them. Let them burn in purgatory, whatever it is. I think we're already in hell, but whatever there is on the other side, let them burn in it. They deserve it. That's all I have to say about that. Forrest Gump. Okay, and I did have a quote. Do you have any quotes for this happy moment?
I do.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Okay. So I chose a quote from Edgar Allan Poe. Now, he is an interesting person, besides being brilliant. He started the whole genre of horror, really. But he also greatly suffered. You know, he was an alcoholic, and I guess he did other drugs. But he was so tortured, and he died they don't know why he died. Like they found, like he didn't even have any substances in him, but it was a mysterious death befitting somebody that was so mysterious in life. The way he wrote, very interesting, man. I think this quote sort of speaks for a lot of why people take drugs, as far as I can say. I mean, I never really took drugs. Okay. I have absolutely no pleasure in the stimulants in which I sometimes so madly indulge. It has not been in the pursuit of pleasure that I have periled life and reputation and reason. It has been the desperate attempt to escape from torturing memories, from a sense of insupportable loneliness and a dread of some strange impending doom. And I think he said that really well, and I think that explains the pain that a lot of people are in.
I agree. And so I picked 3 quotes from people that were notorious drug addicts, and they all kind of say the same thing. But so Lane Staley, who you know I love, the singer of Alice in Chains, who was a heroin addict and died of heroin, he said, drugs are not the way to the light. They won't lead you to a fairy tale life. They lead to suffering.
Right.
It's just so sad, you know? And then there's Matthew Perry. I got sober because I was worried I was going to die next year. Like, he got sober so many times. He was brought back so many times, and he still couldn't get a hold of those demons.
So sad.
And then I thought I had something else, but I did not.
Oh, really? Well, those two said a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do. Hold on. Kurt Cobain, who was also a heroin addict. Drugs are a waste of time. They destroy your memory and your self-respect and everything that goes along with your self-esteem. They're no good at all. So my point was, the 3 of them knew all of this, said all of this, and still couldn't get a hold of it. And, you know, it's just so fucking sad.
It is.
But
I think some of our most profound people do drugs. You know, I think that people see life so clearly that they can't stand it.
But here's the other thing with me.
Very profound, but
I can understand it to some degree, but I don't know if you feel this way having people in your life that are drug addicts. But when they interfere personally with your life, it's like it's really hard to have empathy for a person who is destroying themselves and taking everybody down with them.
Right. Well, that's what happened to me with my father. I had a really bad childhood because my father was an active heroin addict, and it is sad, but it also like pretty much destroyed me. I became desperate for love. He did love me, but he loved heroin more. And when you're not the number one, the worst thing was he kept promising to come and he never came because he was whatever he was doing, you know, and you don't feel valuable, that's for sure. And it really led to all my psychological difficulties, pretty much.
And it's very hard to see that when the person is affecting your life so much.
Especially when you're a child.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like you just know that, oh, dad doesn't love me enough to come see me. You know, I don't know.
I just want that person to fucking go away.
No, I wanted him to come me.
Yeah. Well, you were a child. Yeah.
This is the thing about girls and their fathers. This is why, you know, it's bad. But, and then who would think that the drugs would come back to play? And even you would think that would be the worst thing for me to happen with drugs, but then something worse happened. I don't know. I don't understand. I really don't understand drug use at all. Like I said, I tried the coke. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I mean, I don't like going to the dentist, and that was the end of it. And pie, like I've had a couple of fun times with Casey, but it also led to like complete panic because I was so high that I thought I was dying. My heart started racing. You know, I'm just not a drug person. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. I would be very interested in knowing what you think about all this and any experiences you have. Thank you guys for listening very much. The next episode is going to be really funny. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Oh, it's good day.
And I say au revoir.